Hello, this is Khabir Southwick, Traditional Naturopath, Ayurvedic Practitioner, and Herbalist in beautiful Ojai, California. The subject of our talk today is about food allergies, specifically uh, uh, the different types of allergies, and so we can classify our allergies, particularly food allergies, so we're then able to understand the proper line of treatment. And this is very important because we often are blaming the food when in fact it's our own digestive system which is the cause of most food allergies. So eliminating all of the foods that uh, give you the reaction isn't necessarily a cure. It may palliate the condition and allow you to not have the symptoms, but the underlying cause is weak Agni, or poor metabolic fire, or digestive fire, we could call it, both in the intestinal tract and in the tissue itself. And I'll explain more of this from the Ayurvedic perspective, because this is an explanation of the different types of allergic responses based on the Ayurvedic perspective to help you to identify which type that you have, to help you to understand the type of diet and treatment which will be most suitable for you. In Ayurveda, allergies are called satma, and basically satma means tolerance, and asatma means intolerance. So it's intolerance or allergies are conditions of hypersensitivity, a reaction of one or more doshas to a causative factor. And the root cause of these conditions is an imbalanced metabolic fire, or Agni. See, the digestive system has to be working properly. If it's too low, or we call Manda Agni, without much digestive fire, we could say peptic acids or hydrochloric acids would be indicated in a low appetite or no appetite, or person not feeling like eating until later in the day. This would be like low digestive fire, very weak Agni. This will result in certain undigested foods that are not completely digested, and this undigested food becomes a type of toxin, or in Ayurveda we call ama, and then the body reacts with an immune reaction, which in Ayurveda is based on prana, tejas, and ojas, but it's the immune system basically reacts to this undigested food, and that reaction is the immune reaction, or the allergic condition, or we can say intolerance to that particular food. But remember, it's not just the food, it's the fact that you were not able to digest it completely that makes it truly an allergic reaction. So there's a fine difference between a food intolerance, which means your digestive system is not suitable to digest that type because you're a food or particular food. In the case if you have low digestive fire and Manda Agni, then heavy and oily foods would be difficult for you to digest. So you could have a food intolerance towards this type of food. Doesn't necessarily mean that the food is harmful to everybody. It doesn't mean that everybody can't digest it, but your digestive system, it becomes difficult to digest because of the type of digestive system you have, or the state of your digestive system. So the real secret is to improve the digestive fire in that case, so you're better able to digest that food. But it becomes an allergy when you're not able to digest it, and the undigested food then it becomes toxic to the system, or an allergen, and then the body creates a reaction to that. So in the case of the other type of situation is if the digestive fire is too strong, or too much acidity, too strong of an appetite, well, even the person may eat a lot and be able to eat a lot. This is also an unbalanced Agni, or digestive fire. It's too strong. It's the opposite. And this also creates ama, or undigested food, just the same as we were to burn food with too high of a flame, the result is carcinogenic substance, and it becomes ama, and then there's an immune reaction, and this creates a type of allergic response. So if the digestive system is too weak or too strong, you're going to have undigested food and create an allergic reaction that will give you this type of allergy type of symptom. And then, of course, if the digestive system is weak, then it also, and fickle, we could say, where it's sometimes hungry, sometimes not hungry, and susceptible to gas and bloating, then certain foods are going to be hard to digest, and you will have a certain reaction. So let me explain the three major categories here. Of course, the three categories in Ayurveda are Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. So we're going to talk about these three categories, and it's important to understand which category you in. Generally, if you're a Vata person, I would more than likely you're going to have the Vata type of food allergies or intolerances, and same with Kapha and Pitta, but not necessarily. So Kapha type of allergies generally results in colds, congestion, nasal congestion in particular, wheezing, sneezing, asthma, swelling in the body, and edema. And the person is often very sensitive to milk and other dairy products, particularly wheat, which is hard to digest, and heavy, red meat, and other kapha aggravating foods. So it's better to avoid these type of foods and follow a kapha pacifying diet. And certain herbs can help, particularly herbal teas with like ginger, cinnamon, coriander, are very effective at pacifying the kapha dosha and strengthening the digestion and making you more capable of digesting these foods that are hard to digest for the kapha type of person. So, and of course, kapha reducing yoga postures and pranayama are also helpful. So if you're a kapha person, which you should know by now, heavy, overweight, roundish shape, and have difficulty digesting dairy, well, this is normal, and you still want to increase your digestive fire or agni, so at least you're not having a allergic response to these foods, and you could do them in small amounts, but it'd still be advisable to avoid them. But again, don't blame the dairy. It's your digestive system that's really at fault. And if you're not a kapha type of person, and you're only recently having trouble with this type of dairy or wheat, then you want to look at what you've done to decrease your digestive fire, your agni, to create the situation where you can't digest foods that you were once able to digest. So just eliminating the foods, or dairy or wheat, in this case, doesn't solve your problems. You should be able to revive your digestive fire to what it was before, so you can go back to digesting these foods. And for the pitta type of allergies, the pitta allergies result in hives, rashes, dermatitis, eczema, psoriasis, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, headaches, and often have a more of an inflammatory response. When a person eats pitta aggravating foods such as peanuts, strawberries, bananas, citrus, sour fruits, cranberries, eggs, garlic, onions, hot spicy food, pork, yogurt, fermented foods, hard cheeses, pitta allergies can occur. So even though fermented foods and some of these foods mentioned can be quite healthy, they can aggravate the pitta, and they can increase the pitta, and the pitta can feel as though they're not suitable for them, or they have an intolerance for them. Even insect bites and strong sunlight and exposure to heat can cause these type of pitta allergies. Environmental chemical sensitivities also fall under the pitta type of allergy. So of course, if you are susceptible into pitta type and you feel you're susceptible to these types of foods, then you should avoid these influences and follow a pitta pacifying diet. Now, of course, in the case of dermatitis, eczema, and psoriasis, Ayurveda has, different forms of treatment. Rakta Muksha, for example, which is a type of blood purification that would be necessary to address these conditions, but that's another subject. Pitta type of allergy symptoms can be associated also with anger, hate, and irritability. So you'd want to try to reduce these stressful factors that are aggravating your pitta. And also certain types of pranayama, and particularly deep, quiet meditation, can help accelerate the healing process. So if you're a pitta person with a warmer body temperature, a strong appetite, tendency for acid reflux, heartburn, irritability, red face, and then you know, these foods are not going to be recommended for you, and you're going to have somewhat of an intolerance to these foods. So you should just try to avoid them. But if you're not a pitta person, and now you're finding that these particular foods are you're getting an allergic reaction, then you need to balance your Agni. In most cases, it would be bringing down the acidity, increasing the mucosa in the stomach lining, which could involve having more dairy to bring down these stomach acids. But this is a whole nother process. But following a pitta pacifying diet and taking pitta pacifying herbs can help to improve the digestion, so you could go back to eating these foods that at one time maybe didn't bother you. That's if the case if you're a kapha or vata dominant body type or prakriti, and now you find that your vikriti is become pitta, or now you've become pitta and you're getting a reaction to these foods, then you need to improve your digestion so you can, or balance it, so you can go back to consuming these foods. So again, we don't want to blame the food. We want to look at our own digestion and look at our own constitutional type, and make our decisions from there. So as far as the vata type of allergies, people with vata type of allergies may be very sensitive to vata aggravating foods such as nightshades. Of course, this includes potato, tomato, eggplant, paprika, green peppers, and beans, and certain types of dry or bitter foods, and even bitter herbs. After eating these substances, they have symptoms such as gas, bloating, headache, muscle spasms, heart palpitations, insomnia, and even nightmares. Emotionally, people with vata type of allergies experience anxiety, fear, insecurity, and they may even become hyperactive. Of course, it's best to avoid these type of causes and eat a vata reducing diet and follow a vata pacifying guidelines, particularly if you're a vata person and you found your whole life that these foods are difficult for you to digest and gave you symptoms in the past. Sometimes we're just eating foods because we heard that it's good. For example, raw vegetables we've heard is good, and then or cabbage or broccoli or cauliflower, but the results are gas-producing, indigestion, bloating, and even constipation. So we have to listen to our body and follow our body. So if you're a vata type and this types of vata increasing foods aggravate you, then you have an intolerance to those foods because of your type of digestive system you have. But again, if you're not a vata type and you're a kapha type or pitta dominant prakriti, then you are body type, then, and now you're having difficulty with these, with gas, bloating, abdominal distension, then you need to focus on balancing your digestive system, strengthening it so that you can go back to digesting these foods that you once could digest again. And again, just eliminating the foods isn't addressing the cause, and that's the main point of this. The later video will focus on the foods and the treatments for improving each of these type of allergic responses according to Ayurveda. So I hope that helps you understand your type of allergic food sensitivities and reactions, and give you a better understanding of how you can improve it by improving and balancing your digestion and just not eliminating the foods. Thank you very much.